Hey guys, musicninjamat here, and I'm doing a video today I mentioned weeks, if not months ago, which is Avengers No Surrender. It's finally ended, and I said I was basically going to go through my thoughts on the book and what happened in it once it was finished. So it was 16 parts, so that's a lot of books. Went for 16 weeks straight. So it's written by Mark Waid, Al Ewing, and Jim Zub. We do get a few artists on this, but the main ones are Pepe Larraz, Paco Medina, and Kim Jacinto. So issue 1 kicks off, and in each book we kind of get different ride-along characters. So we start off with Lightning, who's a character that I went from hardly knowing to actually really adoring by the time this book had finished. So Earth ends up actually moving location, just kind of vanishing, reappearing, and when it does reappear, there are disasters happening all over the world, and the Avengers are kind of freaking out because there's a lot to deal with. Jarvis actually gets injured while pushing somebody out of the way, and then a lot of the Avengers end up in stasis, just frozen. And we meet Voyager, and Voyager is a huge character in this. She kind of appears and issue 1 ends. In the back of all these books as well, it's worth noting, we get a thing called the Assembly, and it's just little behind the scenes things of where did this character come from, or like a map of Avengers headquarter, and just all these little fun things in the back. I also think this series have some really gorgeous covers. Obviously, issue 1 we got these really nice covers that I really like, but just some really striking images. Probably my favourite is actually issue 2. It just shows somebody holding an original Avengers. They've got it out of a long box, and I just think it's a really cool image because Voyager's actually there with the original Avengers. We have a plot that will run throughout of Beast and Nadia Wasp, who are trying to work on Jarvis and just trying to wake him up and cure him. And Voyager is the forgotten Avenger. She was always there, she was a founding Avenger, but people thought she was dead, and yeah, people had just kind of forgotten her. Another big theme throughout the story, obviously, is seeing people's torn friendships, because you've got a bunch of Avengers teams who have come together, who have been on their own adventures and had their own arguments, and we're seeing them try to overcome those throughout the story. And we're introduced to the Black Order and the Lethal Legion. They both arrive, and basically with them, they are representing the Grandmaster and the Challenger, because once again we're doing a cosmic game. I can say straight away, this book just got better and I loved it, but in the early couple of issues I was like, we're doing another cosmic game and Earth is the battlefield and blah blah blah. I was like, Christ. But the Black Order and the Lethal Legion are having to fight over things called pyramids, and pyramids, wherever they appear, will just cause disasters to happen, whether it's weather-based or whatever, and they've got to grab them, and that scores a point for their team. And the Grandmaster and the Challenger are actually fighting just for the title of the Grandmaster. The heroes that have been put in stasis, it's to minimise the amount of obstacles that will get in the way, but they've kept some of the heroes because they're like, it makes the game more interesting if some of the heroes are still in play. The hero's main worry as well is what happens to Earth once this game is over. Will it just be discarded? Quicksilver is actually a pretty big character in this, and yeah, by the end you care a lot more about him. He's a big ride-along character who just wants to prove himself. Avengers Mansion actually ends up getting blown up again, but Voyager is able to teleport everybody out of there just in time to Avengers Auxiliary HQ, which is like a really old Avengers base. Obviously, there are a lot of battles in this series. For me, I prefer character moments over battles, but what happens is they have their HQ, they're able to teleport teams out where they need them to help fight against the disasters and the Black Order and the Lethal Legion. There are some big moments, obviously, throughout, like Metal Master is actually able to wield Thor's hammer, and in one of the assembly points they write all about scientifically how he is able to do that, which I was like, okay, that's quite cool. Quicksilver rushes into action and actually ends up freezing in stasis because Wanda takes Vision out of his stasis. She uses her powers, but what they don't realise is when one of them gets taken out of stasis, another one gets put in it, and Quicksilver is frozen right in front of all the bad guys, and they just start beating the crap into him. Obviously, the Avengers are able to step in and save him, and he will come out of stasis later. The heroes slowly pick up throughout the story what's going on through what's said, through things like synapses, obviously, able to tap into the minds of some of the bad guys and just see what's going on, why they're here. The Black Order actually gets the first pyramid, but the second one is grabbed by the Human Torch. And it appears that when you grab them, you just disintegrate. This isn't the case. You get sent to the cosmic game room, and you're just a point counter who's there frozen. But to all the heroes, Torch has just died. We then get to see the Challenger's kind of backstory, how he was the Grandmaster, and our Grandmaster was jealous of that title. They kept playing games, upping the stakes, and Challenger actually lost his name to the Grandmaster and was banished and had to kind of fight his way back, and they set up this game to kind of fix everything. And we start getting teases of Bruce Banner Hulk coming back, because he's been resurrected by Challenger and he's Challenger's kind of big ace in the hole. When Rogue finds out that Human Torch has died because they were kind of having a thing, I guess, she goes mental and ends up like pretty much coming close to killing Corvus Glaive. She just kicks off completely and starts tearing shit up, and it's actually really badass. And we start to find out that Red Hulk actually has heart issues, and when he hulks out, he gets weaker each time, and his hulking out lasts shorter periods of time. We get to see Voyager's backstory. Her dad was a scientist, and her parents were actually separating, and this upsets her. She ends up running into one of her dad's machines, and it gives her her powers, and her dad work alongside each other to help her develop her powers. We also get just those good rallying moments where a character just kind of shows up, and when Hawkeye shows up, I had one of those like fuck yeah moments, because he's just like, somebody want to explain what the fuck is going on. He turns up with Red Wolf, and Red Wolf actually gets quite a big moment. We see sort of his processes of reading a battlefield and knowing when to move forward, and he actually just goes through the battlefield, claims a pyramid, and he says to Clint, like, look, I don't think we die. Like, I'm not gonna die. So Clint's like, okay, I believe him, and just gives him the backup he needs to be able to claim it. Jarvis wakes up briefly and just starts screaming, it's all a lie, it's all a lie, and we're like, well, what's all a lie? And they're actually able to save Jarvis, our Beast, and Wasp. And the big thing that was all a lie was Voyager and her identity, and she actually teleports the very last pyramid away. We finally get Hulk's big reveal and return, and again, I love this cover. And this is actually going to bleed out into the Immortal Hulk, which is a series I cannot wait for. They establish, like, Hulk's immortal. It doesn't matter what you do to him, he finds a way back. And they said they're going to make this Immortal Hulk book. It's Bruce Banner, and it's a horror book. It's full-on Jekyll and Hyde, Frankenstein horror book, and I cannot wait for that to come out. So Voyager actually appears back at the HQ in the vault with the last pyramid, and Quicksilver's woken up at this point, because every time we sort of lose a hero, another one can wake up from stasis, and he can actually see these lights that are floating around, keeping the heroes in stasis. It's revealed that Voyager is actually the Grandmaster's daughter. She was put in for him to kind of cheat and always have that extra person there that could influence things. And her power is she can alter memories, so she was putting it into everyone's heads that she was an original Avenger and that they'd all just forgotten about her. Hulk then shows up at the HQ to get this last pyramid for Challenger, and Red Hulk has actually kind of hulked out, but also has the Iron Patriot armour on, and it's just a really cool looking image. We then just get a whole issue of Hulk pretty much wrecking everybody, and the Black Order then also shows up at the HQ. We get this moment I really love of, like, Wonder Man is basically fed up of Avengers just kicking the shit out of everything, and he's like, we never try other ways to sort our problems out. And he tries talking to Hulk, but Hulk is intelligent, Like, Hulk can speak properly and understand what's going on, and I love when Hulk is like this. The Black Order is obviously defeated by the Avengers, as they would be, and Voyager really starts to question her father and herself, and where do her loyalties lie. Hulk is able to just power through, get into the vault, and he actually just smashes the last pyramid. And Simon had kind of said to Hulk, he was like, why are you working for Challenger? You finally had peace. Like, Bruce had peace, and he took that from you. So Hulk kind of defiantly just smashes the pyramid, and obviously that fucks with the game a little bit. And Voyager reveals her true identity to the Avengers, and the Challenger finds out at the same time, and he sees this as cheating, so just starts flipping out at the Grandmaster. We see Voyager just evolve then into somebody who is inspired by the Avengers, who possibly wants to be an Avenger and do the right thing. We get an amazing scene of Bruce has gone back to being Bruce, and he's exhausted, and again he's like, I'm back. And that means Hulk's back, and all these terrible things are going to keep happening. I forgot to mention, like, Hulk even had killed Vision during that big fight. Jarvis is really portrayed as the entire heart and soul of the Avengers. He's always there, always looking after them, always around. And he just reminds Bruce that not only is he a hero, but just don't give up. Don't let this kind of depression wash over you. Then the Challenger shows up on Earth, ready to just rip it apart. Quicksilver, with the help of Wanda and Synapse, is able to really push his power so that he can chase after this ball of light that's keeping everyone in stasis, because only he can sort of see it and realise it because of its speed and how fast it's moving. He is able to capture it, and he vanishes when that happens, but it also does obviously take the stasis off of our heroes. Straight away, Bruce has disappeared and has gone after the Challenger as the Hulk because he's pissed, because he just wants to be left alone. A team is sent to the Cosmic Game Room to just kind of balance Earth and try and figure out how to get it back into place and just fix Earth and stop it from breaking. We get a great hero moment from Sunspot. I know he's Citizen V or whatever now, but Sunspot, he has to kind of regulate his powers, and he basically decides, screw that, Earth needs help, I need to use my full strength, even though it takes years off of his life. The Avengers then are just trying to save everyone they can and battle the Challenger at the same time. In the Cosmic Game Room, Lightning gets his really cool moment as well, where he spots the Grandmaster and he says, let's just play Texas Hold'em, and, we'll wager a couple of things. And he wants the heroes that were the points, he wants them freed, and he wants Earth returned back. And the things he starts wagering is he's saying, like, okay, you can erase me completely and erase everyone's memories of me. I'll be like, I never existed. And he's like, I'll be a nobody, I'll be a loser. And Grandmaster's like, a loser? I'm not willing to bet that. I'm not willing to risk that. And he ends up folding, and he says to Lightning, like, well, what was your hand? I need to know if you were bluffing. And he goes, oh, honey, I don't play. And I love that moment. And I love the whole idea that he's like, we don't do any of this for recognition. It doesn't matter if anyone remembers our names, as long as we know we saved people, that's all that matters. And Challenger is also then defeated by the Avengers as they're all just rallied together and assembled. See, this is another really cool cover because it just implies the Texas Hold'em thing and also just looks really cool. So finally, the battle's won, they return to the mansion to start to rebuild it, and we get this cute moment with Jarvis where he's like, something's changed and I don't like it, and you're going, oh, what's happened? And Jarvis goes, I don't know what I'm going to do now. He's like, do they need me? Is there an Avengers? What's going on? And Nadia comes up with this little Jarvis AI, like we have in the films. And she goes, Jarvis, where's this kind of tea kept? And the little AI is like, that's in Captain America's cupboard. And the real Jarvis is like, Captain America's cupboard, that's completely wrong, that's not what he did, blah. And Jarvis is like, they need me to stay, I need to look after them, I'm not letting some AI take over. Then we just see, like, where does everyone end up? So Voyager departs with the Challenger, and she says, before my father kind of drove him crazy, he was a nice, kind-hearted person, and I'm going to try and fix him. The Grandmaster goes to the Black Order, and actually offers them a new opportunity, but we're not told what it is. We see that the Lethal Legion has decided, we can't go back to our homes, so we're just going to stay as a team. We see Vision being rebuilt. We see Lightning Now continuing on the fight. We see that Sunspot actually steps down as one of the head people in the Avengers. Wanda, Synapse, and Jericho, they don't believe that Quicksilver's gone dead. They just think he might be elsewhere, so they're going to travel to try and find him. And we get a moment of Bruce and Hawkeye talking, and Bruce is like, Clint, I put you through so much, and I didn't even die. The plan didn't work. And Bruce just kind of takes off, and you can see just how tormented he is. And the very ending shot is they've rebuilt the Avengers statue, but with all of the Avengers, which is quite a nice touch. So the main thing with this is it's spilling out into Quicksilver No Surrender, which is where is Quicksilver and what's going on with him. Can he be found? And they said it's quite an eerie horror style book, so I am going to pick that up because, like I said, there are characters at the start of this series that I really didn't care about that now I'm like, they're actually awesome. It did a really good job of that because a lot of the characters that were in Stasis were the big Avengers, and the guys that were left behind are maybe not as well known, so it was nice seeing them. The art is solid, the writing only gets better throughout. It's just full of these, you just want to punch the air in happiness kind of moments. And with Avengers Now, we're getting a new Avengers book. They're starting again with Avengers 1, but the team looks awesome. So the Avengers team that's on the front cover is Doctor Strange, Ghost Rider, Iron Man, She-Hulk, Captain America, Black Panther, Captain Marvel, and Thor Odinson. It looks awesome, so I'm definitely going to pick that up. But yeah, I really recommend this story. I think as well it's even better once you've got it all, like they'll release it in trade paperback to just read it all as one thing. Yeah, it's definitely a fun ride and a great read. Anyway guys, thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe as it really helps the channel out. If you go down into the description down below, you'll find my social media links, and I will see all of you in the next one.